Welcome to Being a Woman and Podcast. This is Nicole.
I'm Talia.
My name is Casey.
Entonces, cámara, acción.
Hello! Woohoo! We are very excited because we are in our first episode and we are gonna talk about a very interesting topic, I think.
Very interesting.
We also wanted to obviously explain you why we are doing this. These three girls, like who they are. Maybe you can answer this question, girls. Like, why are we doing this?
Who are you first?
I'm Talia, by the way. Hello. I'm from Colombia. I'm from La Guajira, a very small town in the Caribbean coast.
My name is Casey. I am from Philippines. Woo! I came from a small province. It's called Bataan. It's a coastal area.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Nicole. And I'm from Bogota, Colombia, Bogota, which is the capital. And yeah, I think that's the reason why it makes us different and unique in this podcast, is that we are going to share our experience and our different perspectives depending on what we have lived or where we have experienced on our cities, with our families. So we hope that you feel identified. That's one of the main reasons that why we are doing this. Make you feel like identify, or maybe if you are curious about our cultures or what these girls are gonna talk about.
Aside from being a woman.
We're not famous, we're not influencers, we're not bloggers, podcasters, TikTokers, not at all any of that.
We
just want to talk.
We just want to talk.
We just consider that our conversations were too interesting and we needed to take them to another level.
Another platform.
We like to go deep.
to go outside of this.
So the invitation is as well not just women to listen to us. Maybe you can bring your men friends or your husbands, or we would like to listen them as well. So let's go into the topic, right? You feel?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So our first topic is cultures.
Cultures, of course, because
that's a huge topic.
It is a huge topic.
And by the way, I mean, we are from different countries, but right now we are in Australia.
Yeah.
We are in WA, Western Australia, for those who are outside, which is
a desert.
Like the ass of Australia.
This is Perth. This is Western Australia.
And we are full of flies right now. We're trying to take it
This
out
is
of
the
our
real
glasses.
scenario in Western Australia, or Australia in general. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's all very mixed up in terms of cultures. Even though we have our own, we're coming to a different one, and there has been some kind of a shock between cultures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so breaking the ice of this culture when you come in Australia, what's something that made you question, why are people doing this? We're not like this.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I could give an example. I came here, I think it was summer. And then what shocked me was when I was going to the shopping center, people are just wearing a bra, like a swim top, swimming bra, which is like, it's too shocking because you won't see that in the Philippines. If you go like that in the Philippines, people are saying, oh, this girl is a hoe, or this girl is a whore.
But that's true. I think it's definitely culture because here Perth is very similar to La Guajira. I mean, the lifestyle is like you're living by the beach. It's like a very chill lifestyle where afterward you can do a lot of stuff because you have still time and the sun is out. So, but even though we have the beach in front of us, you won't see anyone like barefoot or wearing their swimsuits. Yeah, that's.
What do they wear?
I mean, clothes, because you cannot go to work like wearing that stuff, or going to school wearing that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Or unless you are a tourist person and you're just like, you are not self-conscious about what's going on in your surroundings. But so I think definitely it's about the culture. Here people are very chill on that. They are barefoot. Like I could never do that back in Colombia.
You know what I think is that they don't care what people think.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love about Australia, because I think that at the time when I got here, I was very conscious about what people would think about me if I dress this way, or if I wear this makeup, or maybe if I go out without makeup, because in Colombia you actually have to go out maybe pretty, because maybe guys are gonna say like, what's going on with this girl, maybe she doesn't take care of herself correctly, or
I think it's I just want to tweak something on what you said, that if the girls go out without makeup, people will have the thought of, how? Like, are you sick, or
maybe that girl is sick, or maybe she doesn't care too much
about herself. It's actually the opposite in the I mean, in my province, in particular, because we're not used to. Well, we can, dress up and we can wear light makeup, but we have this a little judgment on people who wear makeup or like dress up so much when they go out. Yes, and people will say, oh, this girl has a boyfriend already, that's why she's dressing up like that, or she's putting makeup because she's trying to flirt someone, or maybe she's trying to catch attention from someone.
Yeah, for me it's that being a woman, you have to look coming from Colombia and from Bogota. I don't know, Talib, you have a different perspective, but you have to dress well, you have to wear heels, and obviously talking about plastic surgeries is not a taboo in Colombia. It's very common to see girls getting plastic surgeries. So it's all about appearance, I think.
It's like, the way you present yourself, that's how you're going to be treated in Colombia.
Oh my gosh, it's really different in the Philippines. No, because as I was saying, Philippines is very conservative in that regard, because we think in a way that if you are a true Filipina, you will be shy. I don't know, you are timid. You don't hang out with guys, with boys.
What about, we always talk about appearance, but how you, being a Filipina, how you have to act?
We have this, in Filipino, we say po and opo at the end of the sentence. Because
what means?
That makes you a good person. That means you are respectful. It's like please, or...
okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of houseworks, is it as well,
expected?
The woman is the one
Yes.
who's supposed to be cooking, supposed to be...
Yes, because my parents always tell me, Casey, you have to learn how to wash the dishes because you're a woman. It always has this additional sentence.
Yeah.
You have to learn this because you're a woman. You have to learn this because you're a woman. You just have to learn this because you have to learn that as a person. Emphasized on the woman, on the daughters, that they need to learn this skill, they need to learn how to cook, because if you have a husband, you have to cook for him. If you have a kid, you have to clean, blah, blah, blah. So it's always emphasized.
Well, I have heard that the same sentence I have heard growing up from my parents or my grandparents, but I think that I've been very careless about it, growing up.
Like how?
Because I always been very independent, so I always think I don't need a guy to cook for him. I need to cook for myself.
Right.
Because my parents were divorced for some years. Sorry, Mom. I have to talk about it.
Here's the topic.
But yeah, I've seen my mom doing a lot of stuff by herself, so I grow up looking at herself very, very strong, being like I can do everything alone. So that's the thing that I learned from it. But talking about Colombians in general, I would say that they were raised that way, as you're saying, as the Filipinos. You have to learn this to be a good wife and to be a good
mom. Yes.
So that's quite sad for me. because I'm very against of it, but it's a real topic that I would like to talk about.
It's a fact.
It's a fact, sadly. But those are very important skills, though, because
Yes, it's a survival
like,
skills.
yes, living in Australia
Without
without cooking.
family.
Yeah, and obviously talking about food, touching that topic is very important.
I don't
here.
want to talk about that.
Food, oh my gosh, because we are talking about cultures, right, guys? And food here in Australia, it's nothing. Like they don't eat well.
I mean, no disrespect. Yeah. No disrespect. No, we all have.
If we have Aussies in
we
the
all.
house.
I mean,
Raise
no,
your
this
voice,
is no
Aussie.
disrespect. But I like fish and chips, by the way.
Oh, I do as well. Yeah.
You were eating fish and chips.
Sorry,
last
guys,
I
but
love fish and
like fish and chips. It's, yeah, too much oily. But
Yeah, so coming back to the topic of like,
Colombian.
yeah, or like houseworks and like how you are envisioned as a good woman in our cultures. Of course, we were raised as well as a good woman is the one who knows how to cook for their partner, who can clean the house. And if you're not doing that, you might be less of a woman, like you're less woman than this other one, because this one is taking better care of your partner.
Yes.
And that's really sad. But I do have I don't know. I mean, it makes me angry with myself thinking ahead, because for those of you who don't know, I'm married at this point. I'm the only
Sorry,
one
guys.
married between these girls.
we are free.
And-
I'm sorry, Diego.
I am.
So of course there's a lot of houseworks in our relationship, right? But our relation, it's an interesting dynamic, because when we started our relation, I was the one who was providing the most in terms of money. Like I was bringing the most money to our house. So that was kind of a tweak in our relationship, because at that point my partner had to start like taking care of all the houseworks while I could be working. And the fact that we started off this way, and then, I mean, things changed, and now we're sharing the houseworks and things like that, it got me like, okay, so if he did that without complaining or without saying anything, why can I not? Like, why can I not cook for him when I know he can cook for me if it's needed, you know?
Yeah.
So but it was like a really mindset change, just because how we started off.
Yeah, exactly. If I can do it, he can do it as well. And that's a standard or a perspective that we should break at this point, or in this era, that we're not just
In this century.
categorized as cleaning the house, cooking meals, you know, taking care of the kids, because we all have the same responsibilities. Where, for example, in the relationship, when we enter the relationship, it should be equal.
We are
Whatever
okay.
that whatever that I give, you give as well.
Yeah. But even though we are here complaining about some aspects of our cultures, I wouldn't complain at my mother for raising me that way, because she was raised that way as well. And with the time, she's been learning with us.
Yeah, we all can learn.
Yes. So it's more like, I mean, I love my culture, but obviously, like, time changes. And
Yeah.
of course, you also need to adapt to
Yeah, exactly.
new dynamics as
Especially if you know that changes is for the better.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, we should always have to be open and embrace that change. Not just because because this is my culture, I should be just like this. Because this is how I'm raised, I should just be like this. But you know, coming in a different country as as Australia, and going to different countries, to Asia, you see a lot of practice that I should probably do that. I don't want to do this. I should probably stop doing this, because this could be better for me, for us.
It's one thing that actually I really love about them, because it gives me freedom when I came here.
Yes, exactly.
So I have actually changed the way sometimes I dress up as well. Those pictures, for example, I'm gonna say this aloud. I'm dancing in a club, and I don't care what people think about it.
She's so talented.
I love dancing, but when I say I dance in a club, they say like, oh my god, that girl is a
You're a
stripper.
stripper.
You are a stripper.
Exactly. That's the first thing.
That's the first.
Especially to the people who don't know you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to go, like, it makes me sad that I have to go to the process, that I have to explain that actually I'm not a stripper, that is something that I really love, that is something I enjoy.
And stuff.
They have asked me like, oh, so you dance as a stripper or as a, it's like, what way?
But people
like,
outside of the club, I mean, like, it's not like you're dancing one night and
they don't
someone
give
comes
mud.
and Yeah,
Outside.
exactly.
Like I say like I'm gonna go to work, and they say like work at Saturday 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Like, what are you doing at this time? And I'm say like I'm gonna dance. Say, so the first thing that they come to their mind is like, oh, are you a stripper? It's like, no. Why you have to think that way? Like, I dance, but I'm not a stripper. A dance is an art. Dance is something that I love. Dance. I like to feel sexy. I like to dress up. I like to just. I think that is is something about me. Like, it's something.
That's your passion.
Exactly. That's my passion, and I really enjoy that I'm getting paid for something that I love to do. Yeah.
So now we're gonna do a quick round section of questions.
Yes.
What are the questions about? Because
I would like to add that this question is not just for us to reply between us. These questions, it's good that you do it to yourself or to your girlfriend or your mom or even to you as a guy, if you feel identified with this as well. Is that what's one standard you grew up with you've completed rejected?
I cannot think. Maybe I would say rejected. I think the idea of marrying at this point of time, because my parents would say, oh, you're already 25, you're 26, you're 27, you should get married and have kids, and because you're at that right time, right age, that you should have family or settled with a husband. But in a way, I've completely rejected that idea, because of course the status here in Australia, it's hard, it's difficult to be in that route yet, because I am still achieving something for myself before completely settling with someone. I think that's my main something that I grew up. There's Santi sneaking. He knows that I'm talking about him. But yes, that's one thing.
I would say financial stability. I mean, since I remember my earliest memories, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, because I was like super nerdy when I was back in school, like getting the best grades and everything. And like, okay, so what would a girl that's like likes to study a lot and like she seems to be smart, what would she study? She's gonna be a doctor. So I grew up thinking I was going to be a doctor, and that was settled for me. And then when I was like, let's say 10 or 11th grade, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, that's not me. And then I decided to study law for 1 year, and I didn't like that either. And then I moved. And then I took the wildest decision at that point of my life. That was like, I felt like the world was
Against you.
yes.
The world is against
Yes. So I took the decision to study journalism.
Which
And-
is very different.
Yes, and not only that, coming from medicine and the law to this, but also because this is a career, I don't think it's only in Colombia, but it's a career for like the pretty faces, empty brains girls back in Colombia. So you have to be like in front of the camera talking, but you don't know, it doesn't matter if you know what you're talking about, but you just have to look pretty. And that was not the case for me. The thing is that then after this, the best way to come out of graduating in journalism was to work at El Tiempo, which is like the biggest newspaper back in Colombia. And I did apply to those jobs, and I got the jobs, which was like amazing for me. but it wasn't fulfilling. So I rejected them and went to work for a company that was a startup. That's the farthest from stable that you can have in your like work experience. The thing is that I've never gone for the traditional jobs in my career, even though that's what my parents have always wanted. And not because they don't think I could do better or they are not good enough, but because they want me to be stable and safe. And of course, money gives you that.
That actually something that you are doing that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactamente.
Another question. Do
Yes.
you feel like you have become yourself or more confused since living in Australia?
Oh, okay.
And I think that I'm more confused.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I don't know if
In what way?
I don't know if it's because Australia. I think that is because soon I'm turning 30s and I'm making big changes to my life. Maybe because I feel that I need to be more mature.
I would disagree on that. In that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I see life differently now.
Which is good.
Yeah, it is good. I don't see it the same that I used to be on my 21. Yeah, but I think that I'm more confused because I now am in between, like, but I used to be like that and now I want to be like this. So how I'm gonna be, and my partner is gonna like this because he obviously fall in love with the previous Nicole, or is gonna be is gonna like the new version of me.
That's a good question.
That's a
Or
good
like,
question.
how are you going to be in the halfway of your personality, of the old one and the new one?
Exactly.
Do you think
like to look for a balance
Yes.
as well, because I don't want to change completely. Probably go to a party or
Yeah. And that's-
drinking,
yeah.
stuff like that. Obviously, I want to do these kind of things a little bit less, but also it's something that I really enjoy to do. Or maybe hanging out with people that they don't give too much to my life, but they are really nice people because I laugh with them.
Mm-hmm.
So should I just stop hanging out with them totally, or but
Yeah.
sometimes I just feeling that going out with them it doesn't go with my new
Yourself.
with
Yeah.
Do you think that
my
you've
new
changed so much that you were thinking about that?
self. I don't know. I think that is part of growing up.
Yes.
You're learning more. I would say, like, even more than changing, you're learning more about yourself now.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
when we
That's right.
moved to Australia, and I think that because Australia is too far from Colombia, and I think that sets the
It's a big
difference
factor.
than going to live in the US or in Spain. Like, you still have your family close, you are still in the same time zone, or at least a
Yes.
similar one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here you're just separated from everything that you knew, and you can just start all over again
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
no background,
Oh my
no one to
gosh.
tell you anything, and then you start in your point like, did I like what I was doing, or should I try something else? You know?
Yeah.
I think I've become more of myself. I think so.
Maybe you feel restricted before when you were in
Yes,
Philippines.
maybe in a way that you go to the club, maybe in that regard that I feel restricted. But because upon coming here, I've always been the same as I am right now. So I don't know if I can see changes in me, but most probably more mature. My perspective in life has always been, I think, the same, and how I am as a person has always been the same, even in the Philippines. I've always been playful, always laughing without reason. So I think, yes, I don't know. I don't think that's a factor for me going here or living here in Australia. Actually, my answer is confusing me.
So maybe you are confused.
Probably I'm confused.
You, Tali.
I think I've lost myself and found myself and lost and
that's
found
so deep.
myself again.
The lost and
in the
found
short
girl.
time. In the short time I've
The
been in
lost and
Australia.
found.
It's only been like what, almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years. But I mean, I've taken such big steps being here in Australia. I got married. I started living with my partner. I was not doing that before coming here. So those are huge steps.
Yes.
So of course they, like relationship wise,
Being
I
independent
get that.
as well.
Yeah.
being independent, for example. So sometimes I feel confused. I'm not gonna lie. Like even though, I take a decision, I feel like I'm so sturdy, only like I'm sure of this, and then I get confused about it. But that doesn't scare me as much as it would have in the past. I don't know, because now I know that I can move forward because I've done it well so far in Australia, so I trust in myself a little bit more.
Yes, that's right. That's the right answer. You become more independent that you probably wouldn't think before you come here in Australia. Oh, I won't probably cook by myself, wash everything because someone in the house is doing it for me. You're like a señorita. Very, very interesting.
Okay, do we have more questions?
No more question, guys. This episode has come to the end. You feel identified with anything that we have said about, or probably have some fun or enjoy your walk while you were listening to us. Please like, subscribe, comment, and give a suggestion of what you would like to see in the next episodes.
Yes.
We're open to suggestions. Topic. If you want to know more about us, about living in Australia, that's also, we can do that as well.
I
You're very
hope
welcome
that you
to.
enjoy this video, this conversation. I hope that you get to relate with our topic, and yes, I hope you enjoy everything that we've said and anticipate the next video.
See you in the next one.
See ya. Welcome to Being a Woman and Podcast. This is Nicole. I'm Talia.
My name is Casey.